Greetings. Welcome to Queen Elle TV. This is Elle. Thank you so much for joining me today. This is, it's Sunday, March 27th. I think it's the 27th, 2022. For anyone who is new to my channel, again, I'd like to welcome you. I am a homeschool, stay-at-home mom of 4. I have a almost 21-year-old daughter who is now the mother of 2. I have a 14, almost 15-year-old son. I have a son who is almost 10. And then I have a new little one who is 3 months old. So lots of fun on my end, always busy, never a dull moment. And I wouldn't have it any other way. So again, welcome to my channel. I live in the Midwest in Southern Illinois, and the weather it's kind of up and down right now, as it is throughout the country in the United States. We just have some kooky weather. We've had some cold fronts come through recently where one minute it's raining like it's springtime, and that's great. The next minute it's cold. So right now it's in the 30s, and it's the afternoon. So crazy times. But even though it's really cool outside and I have my thicker coat on or jacket, the sun is out. So with the sun being out, I'm perspiring. I'm in my minivan, and it is I'm just parked outside of my house right now. So with the sun beaming on me, it actually feels a bit warm. So anyway, as the title states for this video, this is an update, just update on my postpartum woes. I have been dealing with some complications since having my youngest little one in December of 2021. And most recently, I have taken lots of labs from my rheumatologist. So I started seeing a new rheumatologist last year. I saw her for the first time during my pregnancy, and that was just to establish myself as her patient. And she said that she wanted to see me a few months after giving birth so that we could run some labs. Just a bit of history is I've had some undiagnosed inflammation and chronic pain in my body since about 2000, the end of 2017 to early 2018. I've had twinges here and there over the years, but most recently, since 2018, it has become more chronic. So every now and then when a doctor would run some lab work, they would say, well, you have inflammation. That's been the consistent thing since 2018, is that I definitely have inflammation in my body. And actually since about 2016 to early 2017. So I've been told I've had inflammation in my body since then, but that was the only thing that seemed abnormal in my lab work back then. Fast forward to 2018, the inflammation level was quite high, and I was told by an ER doctor, because of how much pain I was experiencing and that high level of inflammation, that the level was so high that I either had some type of infection that my body was fighting off, or I most likely had an autoimmune condition. And when they ran extra labs to see if I actually in fact had an infection, those came back negative. So they said, you definitely need to see a rheumatologist who specializes in autoimmune conditions. Well, that's what rheumatologists do. They specialize in that. So I started seeing a rheumatologist in early that was August of 2018. And when I had those labs done, by the time I was able to get in to see the rheumatologist, that was early 2019. Started doing labs, and things seemed to be somewhat normal as far as the lab work was concerned. I still had inflammation, but it had gone down quite a bit. And from research I've done since then, I've learned, I mean, as with a lot of other chronic conditions, there are ebbs and flows, so, you know, peaks and valleys. So you can have a flare up of sorts, and maybe your labs, if it's in the midst of a flare, they will, you know, just be all out of sorts. But then if you are in a more remissive state, then it will seem quite normal. And that does not mean there's nothing wrong with you or nothing wrong in your body. It just means that nothing is really in a flared state at that moment. So I believe that's what happened by the time I saw the rheumatologist. I mean, it had been about 6 months since I was in the ER for widespread pain. So I still had pain, but it just wasn't as extreme. And back then, the rheumatologist I saw was more concerned with pain relief and prescribing me an appropriate pain medication to help alleviate my pain. And then that was it. They were content with that. And they said, well, it seems like this pain medication we put you on is working, so we'll just keep you on that. We'll see you again in 6 months. Well, I was not satisfied with that. But unfortunately, because that was early 2019, you know, we had our pandemic start in 2020, and things have kind of been on pause since then. My body has not been on pause, as you can imagine, but any type of treatment or discovery as far as what could be going on with me has been on pause. Now, I will take a step back, and I recall a primary doctor that I had. Let's see. This may have been about 2010, 2011. I had a primary doctor who said to me, because of some symptoms that I had some edema and slight pain in my hands and just some other strange things going on. He said, well, he just was unsure of what was going on with me because my labs were not abnormal at that time. And I asked him, so if you had to guess right now, if you had to think of what could be going on with me, what would you say? And I appreciate that he was willing to answer that question, because a lot of times, you know, doctors don't want to speculate. I'm sure they don't want to raise any alarms. Whew, my allergies are acting up. Okay, I'm back. Sorry for the technical difficulties. I had a sneezing attack, and I cracked my door open. I believe maybe just a little warmth in here and dust circulating. Just kind of was messing with my allergies. So I'm back. Okay, so my primary doctor from a little over 10 years ago, he said, you know, he didn't really want to speculate, but I did ask him, if you had to guess, what would you think is going on with me right now? And he said, you know, he said, I don't like to do that, but if I had to guess, I would say that you have lupus. And he said, but the labs were not lining up with that, but my symptoms were aligning with that. And he said, you know, because he knew that he would have to refer me to a specialist and all of that, he mentioned my age. I was in my early 30s, and he said, well, you don't have any other health conditions right now. And I had hypertension, but that was it, and asthma, that was under control. So he said, well, I just, you know, it's not, you know, he said, well, actually, he didn't say it's not that bad. He just said, I felt like it wasn't bad enough to press the issue, because once he mentioned lupus, I had somewhat of an idea of what that entailed, and I did allow myself to search some information and do some additional research into what that would mean for me as far as my just longevity and quality of life over time. But because I didn't feel that my symptoms were that pressing and that much of an issue for me, and he wasn't too alarmed. I didn't press him to look into it further, and he did not feel the need to do it himself. So we just dropped it. But that's always been in the back of my mind. So fast forward to the labs that I've been doing. So I did see my rheumatologist. I saw a different one recently, the one that I established myself as a patient with last year. And she ran all the labs, and she said, just based off of our conversations and her assessment in person with me, that it seemed like most of my issues were more neurological than something that her office would handle. And I was just glad that they were willing to run all the labs. And when I say all the labs, they ran all the labs. They ran labs that I don't think I had ran, that they had ran in 2019. So, I mean, literally like at least 15 different lab tests, and some of those lab tests had sub-tests within them that were about 10 different things. So, I mean, there were literally, I would say maybe about 25 to 30 different things were tested. Different antibodies, different enzymes, my complete blood count, my comprehensive metabolic panel, and my just different ratios, and just so many different things. And I'm thankful that my labs are accessible to me, so that when those results come back, since they don't all come back at one time, but as they come back, I'm able to do my own research. Within each result, it will show me whether, if it was looking for a positive or negative result, it will show me what the result was for that. It will show me if it's a number, a numerical value. It will show me what the range is for that's considered normal, and then I can see whether I'm low or high. It's just very, very informative, very detailed, very thorough. So I will say that overall, percentage wise, that maybe 90% of the labs, because I just had 2 more test results come back today. I thought that was finished, that I received the last of them on late Thursday, but I just received 2 more on a notification. I had 2 more come back today, and that's probably why I didn't hear from my doctor's office on Friday. They asked for me to give them a few days to review everything before contacting me, but I did just receive 2 more. So I don't know if I'm finished receiving results or not, but some of them just take longer depending on if the lab test entails allowing something to develop or not, and then reporting those results. So yeah, like I was saying, about 90% of the results were what's considered within the normal range, or uneventful, and then there's that 10% that is not. So from what I've seen, and I'm not going to really report on it too much until I talk to my doctor, but the 10%, from what I gathered, it's, as far as I could tell, it's quite definitive, but we'll see. One thing that my rheumatologist was saying, and I agree, she said that, it's kind of like one of those bittersweet things. Like, especially when and she recognized that, obviously there's something going on with me, because of how I felt over recent years. But she said, well, it's like you don't want anything to be abnormal, because that would be great news if everything came back normal. But she acknowledged that, of course, and I'm sorry if this is bobbing a little bit. It's my tablet and I'm holding it in front of me. So she said, you know, you want things to be completely normal, but if it's completely, everything comes back completely normal, you're thinking, okay, yay, I'm glad that everything is coming back normal. That's what you want, right? But the downside to that is, okay, if I feel like something is going on with me, and then for the labs to not pick up on anything, it's a bit of frustration, because you're like, okay, so this is saying that there's nothing wrong with me, basically. And yes, that's great, but if I feel like there's something going on with me, then it's like I don't have any answers. I still have, you know, I still feel unsatisfied. I'm happy, but unsatisfied. So you don't want to find out via these tests that there's anything abnormal or anything going on with you, but it would be great to get some answers. So I was thankful for the 10% of things that are not considered within normal ranges, because I'm hopeful that that will paint the picture that my specialists need in order to give me a proper diagnosis, so that I can seek treatment for whatever's going on with me. And one thing that she said was the symptoms that I've had over the years, she said that each of them, and I've had other specialists tell me this too, she said each of those symptoms individually are pretty insignificant. They're things that, you know, are pretty common among just adults, you know, as you get older, and just strange things happen. So each of them on their own is not really an issue. It just is one of those things. But when you have a combination of those, you know, different symptoms, it's the combination that she said it's like piecing a puzzle together and finding out what that puzzle, like the completed puzzle, what that means when you piece them all together. And these lab results rather, will be the missing pieces to the puzzle, I feel. So to be continued with that. Also, I had a consultation for my umbilical hernias. I thought that I was actually having the, I'm not sure if I mentioned this in my last video or not. I thought that I was having the actual procedure. I was actually having the consultation, and I realized that several days beforehand. I had an epiphany about it. So I did have the consultation, and I tell you what, I had done some research on the surgeon who I was going to meet with, and had read some reviews about him that his bedside manner was horrible. Several people over the past decade commented that while their surgery was very successful, his bedside manner was horrible, and that they would not recommend anyone going to him. And I thought, well, wow, okay, that's pretty, you know, pretty major, because it's like customer service, basically. I mean, you can have a great product, but if your customer service skills are very lacking, or you as a customer don't feel valued or appreciated, then okay, I'm not going to be a consumer there anymore. And that's how I am when it comes to being a customer, being a consumer. I have a right to take my business somewhere else if I feel that I'm not valued. And I knew that that was a possibility, but I told myself, you know what, I'm going to go in with an open mind, and maybe my experience will be better. It was not. And I try to take what people say at face value sometimes, especially in a professional setting. And I will say that nothing that he said to me was disrespectful, but it was rude. And some of the things that he said was unprofessional, and how he addressed me was unprofessional. It's just, I thought to myself afterwards, you know, I could see how somebody who feels desperate to have their surgery is just like, you know what, I won't have to see him again. I just want to get my surgery over with. I've heard he's a good surgeon. I just want to get it over with. But just after thinking about it more and more over the past few days, I've decided I don't have to settle. I don't have to dread communicating with this surgeon because of how he communicates and how lacking his communication style is. So I won't. So he was wanting to hold off on doing the surgery anyway. He actually said that I need to lose some weight before he does the surgery. And I could understand that because of where the surgery is, around in my abdomen. And of course, I just had a baby, so I mean, it just is what it is. But that's his comfort level, and I totally understand. I will say that it was his delivery. It was the way that he expressed what he felt was pretty demeaning, and it left me with a bad taste in my mouth. And it was actually pretty condescending and demeaning. And part of me thought, well, maybe I'm being sensitive. Maybe if someone else was in the room, then it'd be great to get their take on how he was communicating. But then I thought to myself, I bet he wouldn't have said things the way he said them if somebody else was in the room, like my partner. So, yeah, I'm taking my business elsewhere, and that's what I've decided. So I will be requesting a referral to a different surgical group as of tomorrow. So that's the update on that, which is no real update. Just know that you can advocate for yourself. That's what I will say. Everyone has a right to advocate for themselves in healthcare, in your personal life, in your relationships, your whether with your family, your friends, your intimate relationships. You have a right to advocate for yourself. So feel empowered to do that. I just want to encourage everyone to do that. That's about it. So my little one's doing great. He's just growing and growing, and he's teething now, so it's kind of early for him to be teething. He's just shy of 4 months old though, so we're working through that. He laughs, he smiles, and he's gaining his little weight, so he looks a little chunky now. It's quite adorable. My boys are doing great. As I said, my daughter's a mother of 2 now. She just had her second little one recently, so that's exciting. And he is just super precious. So yeah, that's about it. So I will end this vlog here, and if you like this type of content, I will have some more homeschooling content coming up soon. We're just getting past spring break. So if you like that type of content or any type of day in the life vlogs, anything postpartum related, or new mom related, old mom related, since I have children of every age group, feel free to check out my videos. Look at some of my past videos. I'll link my most recent one here now, and I will be in touch. So thanks again for joining me. Again, welcome to everyone. If you're returning to my channel, thank you so much for sticking with me, and I will be in touch. Okay, peace. Ashe.